Friday morning at 9, right here on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis, your host. We'll see you next Friday.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Talk.
103.9 WYAB. Pocahontas, Jackson.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. First court appearance going on now for New York's Attorney General Letitia James, indicted in a case brought by the Trump Justice Department. It's rallied her supporters, including New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
He came to our city, and Tish James brought him to justice, and now he is destroying our system of justice to take her down.
And CBS's Katrina Kaufman.
This is the arraignment, so we're expecting Letitia James to make her plea of not guilty. Letitia James has also filed a notice that she plans to make a filing that Lindsay Halligan has been unlawfully appointed to even bring this case. They haven't yet made their full arguments in this, but they did note that this challenge is very similar to one that's being brought by James Comey, and they actually think that these should be consolidated.
Well, today, important news is going out to Social Security recipients.
The annual cost of living adjustment at 2.8% amounts to about $56 extra a month for Social Security recipients.
Unfortunately, I don't have much of a savings account, so I depend on the checks. And this won't help much at all.
He lives in Durwood, Maryland, and says because Medicare premiums are expected to rise.
I had to cut back on so many things already, and a COLA at this level is just not going to help much.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The government says consumer prices rose 3% last month from 1 year ago. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney said this morning he's hopeful trade talks with the U.S., which he says had been going well, can resume soon.
We stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress.
President Trump pulled the U.S. out of the talks, angered by a TV ad featuring President Reagan denouncing tariffs back in 1987. CBS's Errol Barnett has more on new action carried out by the U.S. military.
Overnight, the U.S. military struck yet another alleged drug boat in the Caribbean Sea. This killed all 6 people on board. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says that vessel was allegedly operated by the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua.
CBS's Natalie Brand is at a different-looking White House with the East Wing no longer there and a lawsuit filed.
That demolition is pretty much finished after we saw those excavators out there all this week. But the suit alleges that the administration violated the Historic Preservation Act. But what's important to note is that there's actually an exemption for some key buildings here in Washington, D.C., including the White House. So the White House arguing that they had the legal authority to do this.
The Dow is up 375. This is CBS News.
The annual Progressive Keys to Progress program provides vehicles to deserving veterans, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on
local news and weather brought to you by Mississippi Energy Services. We're your fast, affordable, and friendly generator service company. msenergy.us. msenergy.us.
The injuries weren't fatal, but traffic was a mess. 82 and partly sunny today. Cloudy tonight with a low at 58. Rain moves in for Saturday night and Sunday, says the National Weather Service.
Most places see around a quarter of an inch, but as you go increasingly westward, you could get in that 2 to 3 inch rain.
The high Saturday is 79. It's 73 Sunday. And when the rain comes to an end in the middle of the week, highs will be in the 60s. With the news on 103.9 WYAB, I'm Chris Davis. A 4-car wreck brought traffic to a stop at the I-55 frontage road westbound at Lakeland Drive about 2:30 Thursday afternoon. That brought an ambulance, firefighters, and Capitol Police. 2 people ended up going to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Week 4 of the federal government shutdown finds the patience of lawmakers in D.C. being tested.
Democrats keep turning simple decisions into political stunts. Republicans have asked for one thing, a straightforward continuing resolution to keep the government open while appropriators do their jobs.
Republican Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith releasing that video with her views on the shutdown Thursday. A gas leak shortly after 11 Thursday morning had people at Mississippi College and the Baptist Healthplex in Clinton outside the buildings. That brought business in several buildings to a pause for about an hour when a contractor hit and broke a pipe. Atmos says the leak was fixed by noon. A Mississippi teacher under arrest accused of recording people by putting his phone in the trash can of the bathroom at his house. 28-year-old Benjamin Kegeris is a teacher and leader of the chess team at Center Hill High School in Olive Branch. His bail is $1 million. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Yes, you are. You are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. It's Friday. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday, the 24th of October, 2025, in the year of our Lord. Let's do this. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at WYAB.com, the mothership. Tell you what, it's looking like that blowtorch is going to be lit off next week. It's going to be great. Today, Matt's again out there. He's been out there supervising. The antenna's up. That's the easy part. Now you got to do all the wiring and cabling and making sure you connect everything the right way with the right polarity so it all ends up working out right. And it will. If you want to be part of the program today, you can. The number is just 601-879-0002. The text line is open at 601-879-5060. And I've really appreciated the text line. You guys are sending me stories at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's great. I've got my ringer turned off. It won't bother me a bit. And you guys are just incredible for that. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff going around. You know, we hear about all of these different items being accomplished, whether it be executive order, bills, laws, to ban transgenderism, and then the state of Minnesota just comes out and says, "Yep, we're going to continue with it." So we got to talk about that. Yesterday, at the state capitol, room 113 in the Mississippi State Capitol over there in Jackson, they had the education meeting. Definitely want to talk about that. I feel this audience is really plugged into that and appreciates that. We've got to talk about these commercial driver's licenses being given to all these illegal aliens, and New York, Chicago, or Illinois and California continue to just give them out. And we've got some good things there that are going on there. And I just want to point out the people who are trying to get the illegals out of the country and the people who are trying to get them to stay. I mean, that's just where we're at. The ballroom has commenced construction. You've probably seen the pictures of it on CNN or MSNBC. Great stuff happening there. But there's really only one place to start. And that is, and it's not good. It is not good because judges are now using AI in the courtroom to come up with verdicts. But that's not necessarily the bad deal about this. On Thursday, Senate Judiciary Committee Chuck Grassley released letters showing U.S. District Judges Henry T. Wingate and Julian Xavier Niels admitted staff used generative AI to draft error-ridden orders entered before review in Mississippi and New Jersey courts. Remember, Kingfish was one who broke that on Judge Wingate, and people have been wondering about what's going on with Judge Wingate. Some of his rulings aren't necessarily as predictable as they normally are. Well, now we know. Using AI, just going in there and not paying attention is going to give you weird stuff. And don't tell me it doesn't. We all remember AI making a picture of George Washington as a black man. We all remember just the absolute insane data results that were returned from Sora 1 and Grok 4.0. And this was after they tried to put in that correction language. So it is, and AI is so evil in that it's like this. I don't know the first thing about water solubility in the ocean. I don't know how to monitor the salt. I don't know how it regulates, goes up and down. I know it stays constant. How do I do that? I can go to AI and in 5 minutes turn out a report that makes me sound like I am the best marine biologist ever in the history of the world. And that's how we all used to get paid and make money back in the day, was our mind. How do we maximize effort, maximize work to bring the max profit to my employer? Whether I was boxing computers and games at Protecto back in Barrington in 1988, or whether I was writing Joint Mission Essential Task Lists in 2001 for the United States Air Force and military. What value do I bring? Now it's getting more difficult to judge value because everybody has AI. Everybody can just run in and click something in, and you will look like $1 million. I've talked to a lot of professors, both in undergraduate, collegiate level, and high school, where the teachers are like, we know when they're using AI. We can tell. It's a completely different writing style than what this person is normally shown. Now, that's not to say that you can't change your writing style over time. The more you write, the better you get, the more proficient you get. Your vocabulary expands. Everything ends up going down the right path. But in the courtroom, there's a reason that we go through the process we do to get these judges on the bench. There's a reason. And using AI is not supposed to be part of that. The orders contained incorrect citations and fabricated quotations attributed to defendants, and those withdrawn orders were called clerical errors after lawyers flagged inaccuracies. You can see right there, it's just blatantly putting inaccurate information into court rulings, which are supposed to be statements of fact. It's how It's how our whole judicial system is ran. And we're already in a crisis with our judicial system where we can't trust half these judges. There are no less than 3 stories about left-wing judges putting in temporary restraining orders to stop Trump from doing something. And, the people see it. The people see it. And this is gonna tie in great to inflation when we get to there. Because people see how screwed up the court system is. Now, the people on the television and in the news media and coming through wherever it is that you get your information in the morning or afternoon, we're grateful that you're tuned in right here to YIB 103.9 WYIB, but the people see it. The people see the malfeasance in the courts. They see how inaccurate they are, how they're coming up with poor rulings, poor judgments. And it's not a racial issue. They're just errors. They're just blatant errors. Think about that. The court ordered contained incorrect citations and fabricated quotations. Fabricated. Fake. Lies. Could you imagine you're up in front of Judge Wingate and the court order comes out and saying you said this, and you're like, you never said that. Lawyers jumping through hoops saying what's going on here. And this has been covered by many different journals and major mainstream news media, but I just read mine from a place called Reason Magazine. High factuality. The amazing part about all of this is that this isn't even a mainstream story out there. It's not being really talked about too much. And it should be, because we're all talking about how AI is going to change the future. I've got stories here talking about how we're basically going to have to double our electrical grid infrastructure to support just the beginning stages of AI. And I had to be truthful with my listeners here. I try not to use it too much. I've gone weeks without using it, just because I want to use my brain to bring out the stories that I think are important to all of you. I just don't want to be a rehash of somebody else, and want to go down different paths and different trajectories there. Mr. Kingfish, not to be outdone, comes out with an article on it too. And any chance I get to plug our local news sources, I will. This is Jackson Jambalaya. U.S. District Judge Henry Wingate admitted he screwed up when he issued an order loaded with phony citations generated by AI, artificial intelligence. Such misuse of AI has already ensnared 2 Mississippi lawyers and Butler Snow's Alabama office. Senate Judiciary Chairman Charles Grassley directed the federal judge to explain why the flaw order ever saw the light of day and questioned whether there was a cover-up. And that wasn't talked about in any of the other articles, which is why I give Kingfish a lot of credit. The consistency and the accuracy has to be there. If it's not, then it doesn't go well. But this bodes well for figuring out why Judge Wingate has kind of made some of the rulings that he has. His mind's not necessarily there. He's backing it up on AI. Judge Wingate did respond to Chuck Grassley Tuesday with his own letter to the Judiciary Committee. The federal judge said the clerk improperly used AI. In the case of the court's order issued on 20 July 2025, a law clerk utilized a generative artificial intelligence, Gen AI, tool known as Perplexity, strictly as a foundational drafting assistant to synthesize publicly available information on the docket. The law clerk who used the Gen AI in this case did not input any sealed, privileged, confidential, or otherwise non-public case information. So he tells what he's doing right there. He's just getting the basic thoughts and ideas. Well, isn't that what's supposed to come from our clerks and our lawyers and our judges? They're supposed to have that thought reined up. That's why they get lifetime appointments. That's why they're protected. That's why, quite frankly, so many of them make such good money. But now you're telling me you don't have to be able to think. You just need to go to your Grok or your Chat GPT or Perplexity, and now you can write a whole case. It's not what it's supposed to be, and we're looking at it right now, and we're just starting to realize this AI thing can be really great, but it's actually going to destroy humanity. It's going to destroy human culture as we know it. And maybe that's the big fight that nobody here really wants to admit or talk about, but we do. It's not the end of the world, but it does go to show you that if there's a way to use AI, we're gonna find it for all the good things and the bad things. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
WYAB.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Shopping for eyeglasses shouldn't be scary. Don't get tricked into spending your hard-earned money at those insurance shops only to be ghosted after the sale. I've heard the horror stories. Come to iGear Optical and treat yourself to quality eyewear, sweet pricing, and personable service after the sale. We fit eyeglasses to you, your lifestyle, and your budget. iGear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl. Follow us on Facebook and find us on the web at iGearOptical.com.
Doctor, they see doctor. What's your diagnosis? My whole house was hot as a fever. Now my house is frozen. Cause my air conditioner's on. Doctor, my AC's broken. Doctor, the AC doctor, heal my house, bless my soul.
The AC Doctors is your one-stop provider for air conditioning and heating installation, service, and repair. Contact us for money-saving repairs and lower energy bills.
Doctor, the AC doctor, heal my house, bless my soul.
Google the AC Doctors and get some relief today. TheACDR.com.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness of Mississippi. At Women's Wellness of Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness of Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gossa Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. They might be using AI in the courtrooms, and I bet you they're using it in the White House too. The White House has absolutely mastered the art of the meme and the troll. And I have to admit, from a human perspective, from a carnal point of view, it is pretty funny. I'm not necessarily sure it's helping out with a kinder and gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word incites anger. But I guess when you get to talking to some of these people on the left who are just gone, I mean, maybe that's the only way that makes it through. There are so many people whining and complaining about how the White House is tearing down the East Wing and building a brand new ballroom. And the left is using it as a point of saying, "Oh, we're not feeding people. We're not going to have anybody be able to go out there and get their health care." And they'll just go on and on about the government shutdown. And they're using this ballroom as an example. The president is using all this money. But people don't realize is that there's a lot of it's all private donations going to build this ballroom. But the donations are pretty sketchy, man, if I'm being truthful about it. And they've gone ahead and while the Democrats are complaining about the ballroom, the White House has put up a timeline of scandals of all the Democrat presidents talking about complaining and spending, and it's a pretty good attack. I find it's pretty good. But what's really interesting to me is who's actually paying for this $250 million ballroom. I do think it's awesome. There's nothing against going ahead and updating the White House. It's happened all the time. Yes, the president did get approval from the White House, the people who curate the White House, to go ahead and do this. And the money's going to be there. Trump has committed some of his own money. It doesn't say how much Trump is actually donating to this, but it does give Trump's net worth at $7.1 billion. And that's a lot of scratch, $7.1 billion. So he's going to be paying a portion of this 250. Who else is going to do it? Lockheed Martin, one of the top 3 defense contractors in America. One source told CBS, and this is coming from The Hill, by the way. This is where I'm getting this information. One source told CBS that the company has pledged more than $10 million for the ballroom's advancements. That's a lot of scratch. $10 million coming from Lockmart. Booz Allen Hamilton. They're planning to help out. They don't give a financial portion to it. But Booz Allen Hamilton, and they're a big financial company. They're giving money to this. Blackstone CEO Stephen A. Schwartzman. Blackstone, major hedge fund slash corporate or financial conglomerate, makes a lot of money. Settlement from Trump's case against YouTube. YouTube agreed to pay $24.5 million at the conclusion of a 4-year legal battle. So some of that money is going to go to the ballroom. Google, which owns YouTube, is committed at least $5 million. Alphabet, which owns Google and YouTube, they own them both. Yeah, Alphabet is going in hard to support this. It's kind of funny. These are not technically your right winger type of donors who go ahead and do that. So that's just a list of some of them. It's not all of them, but it just goes to show you that Trump is the king of the art of the deal, and that Democrats are going to use everything they can to persuade us not to be focusing on the good stuff. And the polling has shown, and we talked about that yesterday, and to all my texters out there who were talking about, you couldn't believe I played such a negative poll like that. Well, you have to. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go out and attack these polls when they're out there. And it's not necessarily fun going through there and looking through all the numbers at the Quinnipiac poll. But it's got to be done. We have to do that. In the last segment, I posted that article about Judge Wingate, and I will go ahead and post this one here on the ballroom. I don't think the ballroom was necessarily going to be that big of a deal, but in talking to my friend in my friend circles and everything, they seem to be really fired up about it. And for me, it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, who's paying for it? Who's actually getting it done? When the American people realize that this is coming from private money and not federal money, they're going to be okay with it. The one attack, I guess, the Democrats could technically get on this is the contracting of it all. It is private money, so you necessarily don't have to do that. But how does that work when you're upgrading a White House? I'm sure they're practicing all the laws and going through all those hoops. But that was the one place that did kind of, for me, look at it and say, hey, that might be something that shouldn't necessarily be there. I can't wait for it to have heads of state come to the United States of America and go into that ballroom like if they're going into Mar-a-Lago. I realize that most of us will never go to the White House or Mar-a-Lago. I've never been to Mar-a-Lago. I've been to the White House. But the majesty, the pageantry, the majesty of it all, just the sense of history in that White House is going to be great. And what people don't understand about this ballroom is that women have had to walk through the grass in their heels to get to the East Wing. There's been all sorts of problems with having big heads of state dinners, want to have it at the White House. Well, this is going to allow it now. And, it's not like President Trump hasn't come through on his promises with things like the flagpoles. And everybody say, Andy, the flagpole is a lot easier to do than a ballroom. Yes, I agree. But Trump went ahead and started at an easy victory, in my opinion, low-hanging fruit, got the flagpoles up, and now he's going on, hey, we're going to fix the White House too. And I'm excited for it. And that's just the beginning of this, because when you look at once the ballroom gets done, what else is Trump going to go ahead and change? Never mind. Right now, he's navigating a government shutdown, the crazy Canadians, and a two-bit dictator down in Venezuela who wants to continue to just cause hate and discontent. That's where we're at. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
.1039 WYAB.
Fox News commentary with Jesse Waters next.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Here's Jesse Waters.
The president's building the biggest and most beautiful ballroom in the world, and it's free. Trump and donors put up the money. White House renovations aren't anything new. Presidents have been fixing up the White House for over 100 years. A nice, classy ballroom will class the place up after what Biden and Hunter did to it. Biden brought construction guys to the White House to do the Situation Room and then blamed them for the cocaine. Trump's bringing in construction guys. He's haggling about the price and then hanging out with them after a hard day's work. The left's glum because Trump's so unconstrained. They can't control him. And his ambition, his vision, his confidence are a constant reminder of the Biden presidency's impotence. He's leaving a lasting physical legacy right on top of the White House. In fact, future Democrat presidents, if there ever are any, will enjoy it.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
If you've had an accident, remember Clinton Body Shop. We work for you, not your insurance company. Don't be misled by someone telling you that you will have to pay more than your deductible. Our shops hold multiple certifications from the makers of today's vehicles. We are the longest running ICAR Gold Class certified repair facility in Mississippi. We know how to repair your vehicle, and we will work with your insurance company on your behalf. In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Tri-County Tree Service, the Jackson Metro's premier company to handle all of your tree service needs. Russ Borland and his team specialize in large tree, low-impact removal. Tri-County Tree Service has the right equipment to safely handle the most technical trim jobs or tree removals. Storm damage can happen year-round, so let them clean it up and they'll deal with your insurance claim. Tri-County Tree Service, by phone at 601-TREE-GUY or online at tricotreeservice.com. That's tricotreeservice.com.
Here's a word from John White, the owner of Two Gun Tactical in Flowood and Ridgeland.
I carry a gun every day, all the time. Last year in America, 2 million legal guns were pulled and it stopped the threat. So I'm really wearing a firearm just to stop the threat. There's more likelihood of me just pulling it and not using it than there is using it. TwoGunTactical.com, TwoGunTactical.com.
Two Gun Tactical, the South's only country club.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's it's a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in and experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Oh, yeah. We are back at the Andrew Gosser Show, and we've been waiting for this, and it's just now breaking. Excited to be here. Happy to serve. New York Attorney General Letitia James pleads not guilty in federal bank fraud case. And I've got all different sources from here. I got the New York Post, got Reuters. But who wrote this headline? Here, I'm going to just read some headlines for you real quick. New York Attorney General Letitia James pleads not guilty to fraud case. Straight Arrow News. New York Attorney General Letitia James, a Trump adversary, to plead not guilty to mortgage charge. That's Reuters. You can see the left there. New York Attorney General Letitia James pleads not guilty to bank fraud, false statements charges. New York Attorney General pleads not guilty to U.S. charges. Okay, this is the one. Letitia James pleads not guilty to fraud indictment secured by Trump loyalist Halligan. Who wrote that headline? If you had to guess. If you had to guess. 3 potato, 2 potato, 1 potato. That's enough potatoes. If you guessed MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always, you would be right. That right there is the perfect example for everybody who's in the middle of the road listening to this radio station, not sure which way to go. That is just the perfect example of bias. And you cannot not see it. Let's go to New York Post. They're pretty. This is the oldest newspaper in the United States, by the way, is the New York Post. And by the way, she's not charged in New York and she's not charged in D.C., but actually Norfolk, Virginia. So that'll be an interesting place to see how that trial goes. New York Attorney General Letitia James pleaded not guilty Friday to a pair of federal charges stemming from her purchase of a Virginia property more than 5 years ago. Letitia James, who is 67, was indicted on October 9th by a grand jury on 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of making a false statement. And again, this does not say she's guilty. Just the grand jury has said, yeah, there's enough here. And then, of course, they show pictures of the house and her making her way into the court. You know, it's not like they did with Trump or in the right, where they have him in cuffs and everything. They get to do their own walk. It's really quite hilarious. I want to get let's just read a little bit of this MSNBC article, because it just goes to show you how reporting influences people and how little tweaks like this, which, by the way, they just didn't start writing like this. This took decades to cultivate. New York Attorney General Letitia James pleads not guilty Friday to a mortgage fraud indictment secured by a Donald Trump loyalist after President demanded James and other political opponents be charged. The administration installed Lindsay Halligan, a former Trump personal lawyer with no prior prosecutorial experience, to lead the Eastern District of Virginia. Well, for no prosecutorial experience, she sure is lining them up quick. Honestly, that's the biggest thing that has always ticked me off personally, is when they say, you don't have the experience, you don't know what you're doing. Well, I guess today's the day that you get to drive the tractor. You're going to get your experience today. When I became the highway commissioner, I had reviewed road contracts, and that was about it. And the next day, you're responsible for making sure that you get all the engineering right, that you get all the things that you need done. And the truth of the matter is, it's not difficult. All of us like to make our jobs difficult so we feel important about our self-worth, about what we're doing. Ambulance driver, front-end loader operator, excavator operator. flagman on a job site, paver operator. I mean, that's some work right there. Long story short is radio talk show host. There's a lot. Clay and I were talking about that this morning about the show prep and how much time goes into it and how much time after the show. Him always making shorts and reels and everything. That takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. Some people say, "Oh, that's not work. You're on the computer tooting around." There is lots of work that goes into it, and I'm not trying to shortchange anybody or anything like that. I'm just letting you know we always try to make it sound like our job is the most important thing in the world, and we will always use appeal to self, an appeal to authority, an appeal to the physical evidence that, hey, I've got all this experience, I should have this, but it didn't. And the MSNBC article just continues to whine and drone on about how it's not fair that Letitia James got caught up in this. Never mind, she did the exact thing that she accused Trump of doing, but Trump didn't do it. It's hilarious to me to see that. And I watch a lot of my friends on the left actually crumble because they see it too, but they can't quantify it. They can't take responsibility for it. They can't own up to it. The indictment against James, who previously brought the New York State civil fraud case against Trump, alleges she committed Trump alleges that she committed bank fraud made against false statements to a financial institution in the connection with a mortgage that she got from a Virginia home. The indictment alleges that she obtained an ill-gotten gains of approximately $18,933 over the life of the loan. Why would the Democrats try to go after Donald Trump in a place where he knows he's going to be looked at so carefully? He's getting audited every year. He every I is dotted, every T is crossed. And you go after him this way, this is just going to make him stronger and look more credible. Remember when I told you that these people were corrupt? Yeah, they're all getting charged now. I think that this one does have the potential to actually go to trial and actually get somewhere because it's not in DC and it's not in New York. These jury pools, we've seen it, especially in blue-leaning states and blue-leaning cities where the evidence is there, but the people are just like, nope, not going to convict. It's just the way it is. But now everybody's blowing up with their hot takes on this. I'm sure there'll be great sound for Monday when we get back. When the indictment came out earlier this month, James called the charges baseless, and Trump's own public statements made clear that his only goal was to get political retribution at any cost. Can a president make statements like that? I mean, it's not like Trump hasn't been attacked by the DOJ and the FBI in the past. It's not like he hasn't been subjected to justice that was not fair in any way, shape, matter, form, nature, or relationship. It just wasn't. The raid on Mar-a-Lago, the perp walk in Georgia. Eric texts in, he goes, "You got to be a special kind of stupid to charge the president of the United States with a crime that he didn't commit while simultaneously committing the same crime." Yes, that's the quote of the day right there. A special kind of stupid. Man, that almost sounds like I got to make a track. I'm trying not to actually go in and do a lot of these bit productions Not that I don't like doing them. It's good. I don't feel like that's going to help my cause of where I want to take the show. So I'm not. But if I was, man, special kind of stupid, that sounds like a song. Throw it into Gronk. Let it come up with a song. We'll see what happens. That might be an idea for a segment next week. In the civil fraud case that apparently prompted Trump's desire for revenge against James, she secured a massive financial penalty last year that an intermediate state appellate panel upended this summer. And in a mixed ruling, said that both sides said that they will appeal to the state's top court. Again, we know this is what the Democrats' plan is. That's the only thing they have left is the courts. The court of public opinion, that's mixed. When people actually see what she did with their own two eyes, and that'll be the best thing is when they put those exhibits out and you can see where she signed and marked what she was doing. That's going to have an amazing sway on the American people. Yep, she did it. And whether the trial takes 6 weeks, 6 months, or another 6 years, I hope that they hang on to this. I hope they go after Comey. I hope that they get after all those deep state rascals. I'd really like our country back, preferably around 1985 to 1990 time frame. That was pretty good living. That would be great. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
WYAB.
UrgeVet Emergency Vets Madison has been serving your pets for 5 years now. From late night emergencies to weekend worries, we have been here caring for your pets when your regular vet isn't available.
From the moment you walk in the door, our team of veterinary professionals is here to care for your pets at all hours of the nights, on weekends, and holidays. Located at 15 Olympic Way in Madison. Call us at 601-790-1918. UrgeVet, always here when your pet needs us most.
Our flag was still there. The official 250th celebration flag is available at a complete flag source on I-55 North in Jackson. It's just one way you can show your appreciation for the greatest country on earth. Flags for all occasions. International and state flags too. Flagpole construction available. You can check it out at CompleteFlags.com. A complete flag source, I-55 North in Jackson.
Craving something extraordinary in Jackson? Manship Restaurant is where your taste buds hit the jackpot. Join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. where your wallet will thank you and your stomach will sing. Indulge in half-price wood-fired pizzas because why pay full price for half the fun? And for just $5, dive into our private barrel bourbon picks. That's right, luxury on a budget. Plus, beat the heat with our frozen drink specials, a tropical escape without the travel expenses. Make your way to the Manship where happy hour isn't just a time, it's an experience.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
The mowing season is full on here in Mississippi. I'm David Frederick, owner of Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. The industry-changing Exmark Laser Z commercial mower turns 30 years old this year and has been redesigned with even more great features you just have to see. We have a sale going on with instant rebates and 0% financing is available too. Stop by our store and let our award-winning staff show you the Exmark difference. Fredericks and Exmark, over 3 decades serving you in Brandon since 1993.
Looking for farm fresh produce, high quality local beef, dairy, and desserts? Look no further than the Farm Store in Flora. We've got the sweetest, juiciest fruits and vibrant vegetables from Two Dog Farms, plus premium beef. all from right here in the community. Whether you're cooking up a feast or just grabbing a healthy snack, the Farm Store has got you covered. Freshness you can taste, prices you'll love. Find us on Facebook at The Farm Store by Two Dog Farm.
The best investment on earth is earth. This is real estate agent Shane Saxton. As I like to say, the government can print more money, but they can't print more land. In the past 2 years, I've sold over $100 million in real estate. Call me today to get your land and home sold, because Saxton Sales isn't just a slogan. It's backed up by hundreds of satisfied clients just like you.
Find one of Mississippi's top real estate agent, Shane Saxton, on Facebook, or call Shane at 601-540-5040. Upper Property, 601-724-1435.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, experience counts. And the Rusty Healy Agency has been serving Madison and the rest of the Jackson Metro for over 35 years. Local agent Landon Thompson is keeping that trusted tradition going strong. As a local independent agent, he's not locked into one provider. The Rusty Healy Agency can shop the top insurance companies to find the best fit for you. And everyone knows that the Rusty Healy Agency and Landon Thompson offer top quality local customer service. Contact Landon today at 601-856-3681.
What a great song, man. Great song. Love that bumper music. Look, we're at 103.9 WYAB, Andrew Gosser Show. It's been an interesting first hour. Show didn't necessarily link up like it normally does, but the topics were on point. And we've got to continue to watch out and keep watch on what's happening with the ballroom and making sure that no private money or no public money goes there. I would like to watch that. Not that I'm saying Trump would purposely do that, but it's $250 million. You better be keeping track of that money very carefully, because all it's going to take is one Scribner error, and now people are going to be complaining, hey, you're sending Letitia James to jail for a Scribner, and that's what she'll claim. She's like, oh, I was just signing it off. I wasn't really paying attention. Well, you're a lawyer. You should have been. You should have been paying attention to that, but you didn't. In the next hour, we're going to be talking about our man J.B. Pritzker. He went on with Brett Baird, and he just said some outrageous and outlandish things that we will continue to talk about. This is something that I remember Bill Gates talking about his Beyond Meat company. Remember, he was going to make meat that was made out of vegetable paste, and the name of that company was Beyond Meat. Well, Beyond Meat is going into bankruptcy, and they're just crashing out and burning right now. There's a big divide on whether or not this company and this production plant are going to continue to make Beyond Meat, or are they shutting it down because they're not making enough money. The company wants to shut it down, saying they're not making money. Beyond Meat says we got to keep going, and they actually won a legal dispute. But this just goes to show you, these people who are in charge, they want us to eat a certain way, live a certain way, consume media a certain way. They want to control our lives, but their ideas absolutely suck. If you want to be vegetarian and or vegan, hey, more power to you, but don't be forcing that hot garbage on me. I'll eat one of your Beyond Meat burgers, and you come have one of my lamb burgers, and we'll see whose is better. Yep. But anyways, the stock's been crashing out. It was as big as $5.5 billion market share. Now it's at 1.242 billion. So you're looking at 80% drop, 75% drop, just absolutely falling through the floor. But that's what happens when people get ideas that sound good to them, but don't actually make it in the marketplace of good ideas. And it seems like, unfortunately, in politics, we get a lot of those people who have no business being a congressman or being a senator, who end up there, and you know what? They're voting. They're pulling out the big guns, man, and they're making decisions that affect, over 320 million people's lives. That's how many people are in America right now with illegal immigrants. Hopefully that number continues to grow as more self-deport, as more get rounded up, taken out. You are listening to the Andrew Gossard Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Talk.
103.9 WYAB, Pocahontas, Jackson.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. New York's Attorney General in court today pleading not guilty to bank fraud charges brought by the Trump Justice Department.
There's no fear today. No fear. No fear.
CBS's Scott McFarland.
Letitia James seeks to have either this case dismissed or simply have the prosecutor kicked off the case. James's team has argued that Lindsay Halligan, the newly appointed acting U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia, who is in the courtroom today in Norfolk, was unlawfully appointed due to some technicalities with how long acting U.S. attorneys can stay on that job. There also may be forthcoming motions to dismiss this case, arguing selective, vindictive prosecution.
No photos, please, of the destruction of the East Wing of the White House, as we hear from CBS's Linda Kenyon.
The Treasury Department is next door to the White House, and the people who work there have a good view of the demolition site, which is part of President Trump's White House Ballroom project. A fresh email to the Treasury staff has once again urged them to refrain from taking pictures. It says photos might inadvertently reveal sensitive security information. The email also urged staff to ask guests not to take pictures either.
Defense Secretary Hegseth says a U.S. strike in the Caribbean targeted an alleged drug-running boat. 6 people were killed. Still no word on the cause of the massive blast 2 weeks ago at an explosives plant in Humphreys County, Tennessee. The sheriff, Chris Davis, says they've identified 14 of the dead.
It really saddens me that we still have 2 souls that we have not been able to locate.
CBS's Michael Wallace says Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney wants trade talks with the U.S. to resume.
Carney says Canada and the U.S. have made a lot of progress on trade regarding steel, aluminum, and energy, and his country is ready to build on that progress when the U.S. is ready to talk again. President Trump cut off the talks after the government of Ontario released an ad featuring former President Ronald Reagan, saying tariffs only work for a little while and hurt every American.
As the government shutdown heads into another weekend, CBS's Stacey Lynn tells us.
Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey says if SNAP benefits disappear, it's because of the president.
President Trump has chosen to take away food from people all around this country.
She says during past shutdowns,
food benefits continue because they're essential.
She said in Washington right now, there's a contingency fund of billions of dollars that the president can use to make these funds available next week.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 556 points. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something.
News and weather are brought to you this hour by Flora Animal Hospital, where we treat your pets like our own. Visit our website, floraanimalhospital.com.
The man does not get bail. Partly sunny and 82 today. Tonight, cloudy and the low is 58. Saturday, rain moves in the afternoon with a high at 79. Rain stays around for Sunday with a high at 73. Rain is possible Monday and Tuesday. And the Weather Service says a cool down is coming after that.
These temperatures begin to drop quite a bit as that rainfall comes to an end.
You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. Rudy Warnock, former Canton Municipal Utilities engineer convicted on corruption charges and who had his bond taken away when he tried a public suicide attempt after being convicted, has been denied bond and will not get out of jail through his sentencing, which is in November. The federal government shutdown has Republicans and Democrats blaming each other, with Republican Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith releasing this video Thursday.
What are the Democrats demanding instead? Free health care for illegal immigrants, $1.4 trillion in new spending.
Democrats say Republicans are trying to take health care away from people by allowing Obamacare subsidies to expire. 6 people who were being forced into the sex trade are now free from that life, says the Mississippi Attorney General's office. It was a human trafficking operation in Jackson that freed them. Law enforcement officers from several agencies are getting the credit, and they say one person was arrested. At Mississippi College and the Baptist Healthplex in Clinton, a gas leak caused by a broken pipe forced the evacuation of everyone in several buildings about 11 Thursday morning. The leak was fixed and was all clear by noon. A single bullet was found Thursday in a restroom at McLaurin High School in Rankin County. School authorities did not believe there was any further threat. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them.
Yes, you are. You are back for the second hour of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. It is Friday, the 24th of October, 2025, and we are here to equip the saints. That's you. And you can do that by listening to us over the radio waves. And next week is going to be a glorious week. I'll tell you what, it's going to happen. 50,000 watts. The Mississippi Blowtorch. That is WYAB. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on YouTube. And we're streaming at WYAB.com. If you can get the signal, great. We really appreciate that. But if you listen to us online, we appreciate that too. Just simply ask that you like and share the stream. And I also ask as a favor that you follow me on X, Andrew Gosser, ANDREW, GASSER. And the phone number today, if you want to join the show, is 601-879-0002. And the text line is 601-879-5060. And look, we're at a point in our society where we calls coming in already. We're coming into a point in our society where they're trying to gaslight us right in front of everybody. Let's take this call. Let's see what. Hey, go ahead.
Hey, I cut my radio off. Do you think we ever get to a point where it's, I think it's happened 14, 16, they started playing budget on us all the time, shutdowns running, and the government keeps running, Social Security's coming out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we ever get in a point where they could set a budget and live with it out? We could go out, come play with us every year?
Could it happen? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen anytime soon? No.
And it's a shame because of this pattern they got into doing.
Yep.
And we can't do it. You
Nope.
know, I'm just talking to you about it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, I don't understand how you can't just pass a budget, live within your budget. You know, when we would do the budget in the road district, I would set a budget, and then I would have to go back through the years and through the year and say, look, we put this much over here. We didn't really need that much. I want to go ahead and move this from here to here. And as long as I did it within the legal bounds of the township, it was fine. So we would do that. These people, they're just passing all these individual bills, and nobody's even reading them, dude. You know, nobody knows what's going into. They're approving all sorts of different NGOs and whatnot, causing all sorts of problems.
Look like they give me $500,000 to watch the grass grow. You know, I mean, I'm kidding at you, but that's the way they do it. They give them $500,000 to watch the grass grow.
They have all sorts of crazy jobs there. The nepotism is horrible. The insider deals, you know, if you know who's been in DC for a while, they know how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
You can get rich really quick. I mean, look at all these congressmen who go to Congress broke with nothing, and now they're leaving with 20, 30, 40 million.
You know, then also they got the inside on stock too.
Oh yeah, they do.
Supposedly. Yeah. I'm not that smart on that stuff, but you know, I could be fine. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what,
You know,
if you got somebody who's telling you, hey, go put this money over here, you don't necessarily have to be smart. You just have to take the information. If you think it's real and legal, you can go do it, which is what I'm sure people like AOC would say. Oh, I wasn't doing anything illegal.
Pelosi, you know, she's a billionaire, isn't she?
I don't know if she's a billionaire, but she's pretty rich. But you know, it's just like Letitia James, you know, saying, "Oh, I didn't do anything wrong." The whole time she's sitting there racking up real estate, building herself a portfolio to pass along. You know, she's taking care of herself and her family. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what we all trying to do, but legally, you know, and everything. So I don't know. I was just complaining a little bit looking at that. Why we got to put up in this every year? Both parties now. Both parties.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I ain't saying one party. Both parties. I mean, everything. Then, like I say, but that's what it is. And all we can do is complain about that until we can get, I don't know, there's a lot of rhinos and crooks up there, so we just start knocking them. I don't know. I hope it can be fixed. Put it this way.
Well, it starts in your own local backyard, brother. So I hope you're a precinct delegate. I hope that you're somebody who can go out there and convince others to say, hey, let's pay attention to this and not worry about the big crazy stuff that's going on in California or Washington, D.C. or Chicago, but just the stuff that's right here in Mississippi. That's the secret.
You're right.
It's the secret. But
Mississippi, we got our own problems.
Yeah.
Our politicians. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, you know, if we just start locally and worry about our own self, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about what's going on in Minnesota or Michigan. I'm a Mississippi guy.
You're right there, and so I don't know the answer. And what I'm looking at also is that they taking over the water and getting a grant to pay all the bills off and start over again. In 5 years, we'll be in the same shape. I guess I don't know. City running the water. No offense when I say
that. There's a lot of people who are watching Jackson, and I don't think it'll go down the same route again. I think between Mayor John Horn and the stuff that he's doing and how he understands that he owns this now. You know, Jackson goes as he goes. So if he does what he thinks he needs to do to get the city back on the right track, he's going to do it. We'll just see if he gets all the money to do it. I don't want to have the city in charge of the water. I think them taking care of the roads is more than enough for right now, and let Jackson Water continue to do what it's doing.
Everything. I agree with you, my friend. All we can do is say a prayer and get involved. But you got to know when and where to get involved. It's so hard to do.
Well,
if you don't.
Well, definitely keep listening because as we get closer to 2028 and 2027, we'll talk about that. And the main thing is just getting more people interested in it and trying to figure out what it is. And we'll go every so often. I'll talk about it and go into the details of it. But yeah, man, I appreciate you calling in.
Hey, you have a great weekend, sir. Thank you.
Yep, you too. Bye bye. Great call. Things like that. Are we going to be able to change the budgeting process? I would like to think so. Will it be anytime soon? Not as long as we have a split Senate where nobody will allow Trump to do anything he wants to do. Wow, let's see. We're here. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Andrew. They didn't really. Why don't they bring up again about the British burning the White House down in 1814? Why don't they give a darn about all the monuments they take down? Lee Circle still has nothing on the top of it.
You know what? That's a great point. The left is definitely trying to tear down a lot of our history and not talk about different DEI, Antifa, Black Lives Matter protest stuff, and they're more worried about our White House than that. And I don't know if you heard during the news break, but they're saying, please don't take pictures of it now. I guess people are taking pictures of the White House and saying, look at what our president's done. And I feel for the president in that, because when we would be tearing up a road, getting ready to fix a road that was horrible, we go out there and create a mess, because that's just what happens when you're doing construction. And people are like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. It's all jacked up. It's all going to fall apart. It's going to be horrible. And then when it's all done, everybody's like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. And you're a hero. It's just the way the system works,
Who knows how bugged that part of the White House was anyway? Maybe they find a lot of stuff the way they tore it down. Maybe they didn't really find it out, but hopefully they discovered something.
Well, they went in there. They went in there hard, man. They weren't messing around. That guy operating that excavator, he definitely knew what he was doing.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to be an improvement.
Oh, I do too. I can't wait to see all the different heads of state come to Washington for a ball, a presidential ball. And I'm thinking like all the big leaders. It'll be a great place to conduct diplomacy and show America's strength, and it's all privately paid for. That's the beautiful part about it.
Yeah, if I knew where to send my money, I'd pitch in some money too.
I'm sure if you reach out to the Trump people, I'm sure they'll let you know where you can stroke a check to help out with the ballroom. That wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you have a good one, brother. Yep. And that might be something too. If you want to support the ballroom, maybe they start a GoFundMe for it, and people can donate that way. I don't know how to actually donate to it. I probably could make a phone call and figure it out, but I won't do that till Monday. No reason to do that now. We almost blew through the first segment just with phone calls, which is pretty awesome. I will lead with this right here. CBS News anti-woke new boss is eyeing Jewel in Fox News crown to take over troubled evening news show. Brett Baer might be moving to CBS from Fox. Brett is one of those people who's known as a news first kind of guy, doesn't really get to the left or to the right. He just likes hammering and taking down politicians. And Barry Weiss, she's not playing around at CBS. She is gutting the news department like it was suggested that she would. She's getting rid of the woke people, which I think is great. Look, I don't want news or agencies that are yes men for conservative values and conservative point of views and conservative politicians. Don't want that. I want the scrutiny. I want the toughness, the rigor, but you do not want it to where they're so biased and not actually providing the service that they say they are. Like MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always, they're not what they say they are. We know that. We know that ABC has manipulated things in the past and have been fined. We know that CBS have done that. NBC and CNN are probably just sitting there going, "Thank God we didn't get caught doing anything stupid. Maybe we ought to turn ourselves around." And they should. Will they? I don't know. But CBS ratings have dropped from 4.8 million a week to 4.1 million since Weiss took over. So some of the woke people are already checking out. When I look at the mainstream news media, I take in very little conservative value to that. I don't believe people like you and I are necessarily watching CNN. We'll watch clips to see the train wreck and the slow motion car crash, but that's about it. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. When we get back, I promise we're going to talk about JB.
enforcement. Do you believe any illegal immigrant charged with or convicted of a felony should be deported?
I think they ought to take the violent criminals and get them out of my state and get them out of the country. I absolutely believe that, but that's not what they're doing. They said they were going after the worst.
You
of the
don't help
worst.
them because you're a sanctuary state, right?
No, we do. If you bring us a judicial warrant, we will bring you all kinds of help on the ground to go get the bad guys. That's what we want. We want the bad guys off the streets. What we don't want is for people to get
And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. As promised, we've got some quotes from J.B. Pritzker. We got to talk about it. And the reason is the more we know what's going on out and around us, the better off we are having it here. And I know that there's a lot of people listening who don't necessarily think we've got it good in Mississippi, but I'm telling you, we do.
No, they're doing everything by the book.
Why does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed,
the murder
our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look,
So what's really funny here, and I love how Fox News is doing this, and Brett Baird, who might be going to CBS, by the way, is they throw up a map, murder rates in the most populous city. Chicago is at 17.47. The next closest is Philly at 16.91. Then you've got Dallas at 13.62 and Houston at 13.8 murders per 100,000. So Chicago's high. Even though he's going to say we cut it and did all that, they're still the top leader in murder. And people just don't want to agree with that.
look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years.
Here's a map.
They've
Most
all gone
populous
down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you
Now,
is
you're
when
talking
you want to
about
fight
violent
crime,
crime.
look, you can pull statistics up.
No,
I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Brett, you got to hear this. Very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption. We've invested in police.
And that is just complete BS. Anybody who lives in Chicago knows that they haven't done the things they needed to do to invest in the police force there. You look at some of their cruisers, man, they are tore up. You think it's bad here with some of our small municipalities who are driving that 2007 Crown Vic still, or whatever it is that they've got. It is that bad in Chicago. It's horrible. And this is the guy, by the way, when we talked about yesterday, the Democrats not having a real leader, this is the guy who's trying to be that. Him and Gavin and Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they are all trying to be that, but they are all such weak leaders that no one really wants to follow them. I mean, growing up in Chicago, I used to think that Chicago was the greatest thing ever. I knew of New York, I knew of LA and other places, but Chicago was the place to be. The Miracle Mile, the lakefront, the changing of the seasons, the planetarium right there, Soldier Field, Bears. Oh, it was great. The Cubs, trains. It was just a great thing. But it's not like that anymore. Even in my hometown, I was talking to a buddy of mine. Like, people don't hang out like we used to. Everybody's very, very secluded and isolated. People don't know their neighbors like they used to. And quite frankly, that's because of our public leadership and our culture. Culture is brutal. Now, this is a great gotcha moment. And I don't normally like gotcha politics and gotcha journalism, but this is kind of worthy.
racially profiled. That's what's happening right now.
But do you believe any illegal immigrant charged with or convicted of a felony should be deported?
I think they ought to take the violent criminals and get them out of my state and get them out of the country. I absolutely believe that, but that's not what they're doing. They say.
Yep. Someone said that they couldn't quite hear that one, so I'm going to play it again.
They were going.
But do you believe any illegal immigrant charged with or convicted of a felony should be deported?
I think they ought to take the violent criminals and get them out of my state and get them out of the country. I absolutely believe that, but that's not what they're doing. They said they were going after the worst.
You don't help them because you're a sanctuary state, right?
No, we do. If you bring up
and listen to how he's trying to but and therefore, the bottom line is that illegal aliens know to run to California, run to New York, run to Illinois, because we know that they're sanctuary states, and the cops by law won't do anything to help because that's what the political leadership says. And I know the people, and I just wonder what makes someone think that that's a great idea to be a sanctuary city. I'm so grateful and thankful Mississippi is not. We have a terrible illegal immigrant problem here as it is. It would be even worse if we were a sanctuary state. And I'm glad that our state has been active in that. And as we find out more and more about the operations that we are doing in Mississippi, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. The things that they're doing in Chicago right now, in Portland right now. You haven't heard a lot out of Portland, have you? Nope. And in Chicago, I mean, the tactics that they have developed in Chicago and then are spreading around the states is crazy. These vehicles now that slam into ICE vehicles, and then the protesters make sure that they take care of the person who rammed the vehicle and they get escorted away. It's sad to see. But that's where we're at. Let's finish up this one.
A judicial warrant, we will bring you all kinds of help on the ground to go get the bad guys. That's what we want. We want the bad guys off the streets. What we don't want is for people to get racially profiled. That's what's happening right now.
What about all of these people who have shown up for court and then didn't, or were supposed to show up for court and never did? This is so intellectually weak. ICE and U.S. Marshals and FBI could print out 1,000 warrants for all these people who aren't here. And they're going after the worst of the worst. But guess what? If you're not the worst of the worst, but you're hanging out with the worst of the worst, and you get rolled up into that deal, heck, I kind of look at it as nothing ever good happens to you after 12 o'clock midnight. Actually, we'll say 1, but 12. You're putting yourself in a bad situation. You knowingly came to the United States illegally. You know you're not supposed to be here. And it's just, it's honestly fascinating to watch the woke mind virus take over half of the country and make it look like the other half of the country is what's wrong with the country and not all the people who are here illegally. We take advantage of our technology. We can take advantage of our faith, our belief system, our moral code. And all of a sudden it's not being able to hold up because what we believe is not matching what the moral code actually is. Eric Melton says, so you can cut the number of murders in half and you're still the #1 murder city in America? Got it. Yep. And of course, Jackson is happy for this because now they're not on that list, which is a good thing. Jackson, Memphis, both have problems. You haven't heard anything out of Memphis either since the National Guard showed up there, rolled up to Memphis. What do you think's going on with that? I mean, we know what's going on with it. It's being effective as all get out, but I haven't been able to go on to TikTok lately and scroll because I do like scrolling Memphis Ice, Portland Ice, Chicago Ice, and there's some great takes there. But there's so much cussing, I can't play it for y'all. But if you should take 2 minutes out of your day to check out some of those feeds, it's absolutely uh, inspiring to hear how neighborhoods are coming back. In Memphis, there's been neighborhoods where they haven't heard gunshots in weeks, and it was like that's never happened. Truth of the matter is, it's just like when you were acting crazy with your brothers and sisters, and mom was saying, "You better knock it off. Wait till your father gets home, and then daddy gets home." That's literally where we're at with this. Quite frankly, I think JB Pritzker would be a great person to run against. He had money and be dangerous, but his issues, he's so far off the base on so much of it. I think that we'd end up in a good place. We'd end up in a good place. And not only that, but you think about it, they're having to take a governor from a very blue state at the top of the ticket. It's kind of what you want. You're taking away one of their quote unquote best speakers, getting him out of the way. I'd be all for it. Like a JB Pritzker AOC ticket. That would be pretty amazing. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
The most important thing that I heard from Fallon Gallagher, based on her being inside the courtroom, is that this judge, Jamal Walker, has decided that he is going to grant a request by James's attorneys to have her motion, essentially to disqualify Lindsay Halligan on the grounds that she was not lawfully appointed, consolidated with that of Jim Comey, who also brought a similar motion. And what is particularly striking is that the judges in each of their cases are not going to hear those motions. They are going to be referred to a federal appeals court, and specifically to the chief judge of the Fourth Circuit of the U.S. Court of Appeals, for assignment to someone outside the Eastern District of Virginia. And that's because the Eastern District of Virginia judges not only see people from the U.S. Attorney's Office day in and day out in the criminal and civil dockets that they handle, but also because the statutes at play have a role for the district judges to play. When there is a vacancy and someone fills it
Oh, yeah. Only in New Zealand will you find this story. Boy who swallows 100 magnets has surgery to remove them from his gut. The magnets had joined together to form chains inside the boy's intestines, requiring surgeons to remove them. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done lost our minds. This is a 13-year-old boy. What makes a 13-year-old? I mean, I was 13 once, so I realized how stupid I was at the time, and I didn't know anything at the time, but I thought I knew it all. But I knew better than to swallow magnets. After 4 days of stomach pain, the 13-year-old boy was admitted to the hospital in New Zealand's North Island, where doctors discovered the magnets had joined together to form 4 chains inside his intestines. And they've got the pictures out of his body, and it's brutal. Man, that poor kid. It was actually deteriorating his insides. The magnetism makes you kind of wonder what else is out there that they don't know about, that they're not telling us about. But that's one thing. Here we go. The Letitia James apologetics are already starting to flood the airwaves. This is MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always. Listen to the strains at which she goes to try to defend Letitia. It's beautiful.
Like the most important thing that I heard from Fallon Gallagher, based on her being inside the courtroom, is that this judge, Jamal Walker, has decided that he is going to grant a request by James's attorneys to have her motion, essentially to disqualify Lindsay Halligan on the grounds that she was not lawfully appointed, consolidated with that of Jim Comey, who also brought a similar motion. And what is particularly striking is that the judges in each of their cases are not going to hear those motions. They're going to be referred to a federal appeals court, and specifically to the chief judge of the Fourth Circuit of the U.S. Court of Appeals, for assignment to someone outside the Eastern District of Virginia. And
that is just wild to me. When we had our court case, I wanted to have it in McHenry County. I wanted to have it in a jury of my peers. No one would touch the case. We had to go to a different county. And once I knew that happened, I knew the fix was in, because they were going to send me to a place that obviously doesn't have the same views that our county did. And it'll be interesting to see where this judge files out this case moving forward. I'm not expecting too much of it now, if I'm being truthful with you. Once they start playing with venues and all that, they can just, you might as well sock it right into Southern New York District Attorney right there, because he's going to get out. Eric says, wow, now he's Magneto. Yep, that 13-year-old, sign him up to Marvel. He'll probably do better than anything Marvel's got right now. Let's finish this one up.
that's because the Eastern District of Virginia judges not only see people from the U.S. Attorney's Office day in and day out in the criminal and civil dockets that they handle, but also because the statutes at play have a role for the district judges to play. When there is a vacancy and someone fills it for 120 days, and that 120 days is up and there is no nominee that's been confirmed, the statutes then allow the district judges of any particular district to appoint you.
So you can see their game there. This is the game. John Thune doesn't push all the nominees through who need to get nominated through. It's just what it is, right? He did a good job with the big ones, and we're grateful for that. We're thankful for that. But they get this all held up, and this is where it's gunking things up. This lady should be already approved. But the government shut down, so you know that things aren't going to happen until the government speeds back up. So this is just going to be an albatross around, quite frankly, the Trump's neck. And just remember, the motion that judge just approved right there is the same one that they used for Comey. So if Comey's motion does not make it, then hers does not make it, then it continues. But if Comey's makes it, then Letitia James' motion makes it. And we're basically getting right back to where we started. Absolutely brutal. Well, if nothing else, over the next few months, we will be certainly entertained with the drama coming out of Virginia. Man, they're shipping it outside the state. They don't want to handle any of that smoke. They don't want any of it. Well, it's all right. But again, then that just goes to show you who wants the responsibility and who doesn't want the responsibility. Right? That's why I wish Mississippi would do more. We should own some of that responsibility because we've got such a strong conservative base. We are, but our politicians don't vote like it. And I get it. You get it. Once every 4 years, we get a chance to try to change it. So we'll see what happens coming up here in 2027, 2028. This is too good not to talk about. There were companies that went so hard in on woke that they wanted to change the American culture so much. They wanted to get rid of all the good stuff and bring in all this wokeness, anti-God, pro-Satan stuff. The transgender craziness, not even debatable. And Target was leading the charge on that. I remember going out and protesting Target with Pastor Franco and Brother Gabe and Brother Coleman. I can remember them saying, how screwed up Target is. Target cuts 1,800 corporate jobs, 1,800 corporate jobs in its first major layoffs in a decade. These are corporate jobs. They're not stores. They're not necessarily people who walk around and stock and maintain the store. These are corporate people at the top. That's a big cut. They say it's roughly 8% of the corporate workforce at Target just got the axe. I wonder if these are the people who are pushing DEI the entire time, or are those people conveniently stashed away somewhere inside the organization, maybe with a small pay cut just to make it look okay. I've not been a fan of Target. I've never really shopped there. I'd avoided it. I've always avoided it. But there are boycotts at Target right now, and you can go search this one online. The biggest Target boycott right now is being led by a black minister in Georgia. And I watched like 2 or 3 of the interviews with them, and they're just sick and tired of the men in the girls' locker rooms. They're sick and tired of the tuck-friendly swimsuits for young boys. I mean, I go back and I try to put myself back in Target's shoes back in 2022, 2020. And I, for the life of me, could never come to a conclusion where, yeah, this would be a great idea if we went ahead and pushed transgender theory on kids. Because 41% of the population completely thinks you're wrong. Another 40% of the population thinks it's wrong but doesn't want to have anything to do with it. And then you've got the 20% crazies who are at Target doing that thing. The retailer is fighting to get back growth and poised to get a new CEO in February. So they're just running autonomously right now. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they can cut a bunch more people and come back stronger. I know that during the 4th of July, they used to have the front all decked out in 4th of July stuff, and it was just the last year it was residual from Pride Month. Or maybe it was 2 years ago. I can't remember. But they always had the Pride stuff out there. And again, we're actually seeing a culture war right now playing out in America. The traditionalists and the New Agers, which way is it going to be? I don't want to necessarily be at a culture war type of a thing, but the bottom line is that at some point you have to fight. And I'm not talking violence, punching, shooting. No. You've got to be able to politically fight and debate and change points of view. You've got to change minds. You've got to change hearts. And that's why I will always look for the gentle way out if I can. Now, if I have to thump somebody over the head, and we all know that there are those people out there, you're probably thinking of one right now. Man, if you could just thump them, man, that would be great. But not everybody who is thinking like the hardcore leftist is an actual hardcore leftist. And they can be persuaded, and you can have an impact on that individual's life. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of battle space preparation. Andy, I can't go out and talk about Trump. I can't remember all of his numbers. Do you have to know all his numbers? Could you get to where you need to be by pointing certain websites out? I hear the same thing about evangelism. Andy, I can't remember the scripture. Do you need to know that scripture? Well, not actually. You're right. Sometimes what we realize is we put our own limitations on us, our own burdens on us, and we shouldn't, because they're just fake glass ceilings. We're going to be back. We're going to be with the last episode of the week, ladies and gentlemen, on WYAB.com. The last segment of the week. We will be right back.
.1039 WYAB.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris at Fannin Mart on the Riz is quickly becoming Rankin County's go-to spot for pizza, burgers, pasta, appetizers, daiquiris, and more. Try their famous Wheel of Flavor pizza. You can add up to 3 different specialty pizzas onto one pie, such as the Margarita, Sergeant Pepperoni, Acme Beat Buster, Pig, 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 Pesto Chicken, the Old Mexico, the Supreme, or hey, just build your own custom pizza. Acme also has a full bar with 9 different frozen daiquiris to choose from. Open daily at 4 p.m. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, 2-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
Proudly serving southeastern United States. Come see me, Jamie Creel, Ridgeland and Flora, Shelter Insurance.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. How does real estate agent Rita Jensen succeed when time is of the essence?
In today's market, it is so important to communicate and close on time. Typically have 30 days to close, get a home inspection, appraisal, title work, that kind of thing is a mortgage process. And a realtor relationship is so important. With a realtor like Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, she helps us to close on time.
RitaJensen.net.
If you ever been stuck on the side of the road with engine trouble or because of an accident, you know how frustrating that can be. I'm Chad Stevens of Chad Stevens Wrecker Service. We'll help take some of the stress out of the stressful situation. We've been rated by AAA as one of the top 10 towing services in the entire USA. Why? Well, just ask our customers. So keep our number in your cell phones and call us if you need us. 662-755-8645. That's Chad Stevens Wrecker Service. 662-755-8645.
Business owners, tired of drowning in payroll, compliance, and back office headaches? P-Police has your back. P-Police can free you from the never-ending grind of employee administration, such as time and attendance, onboarding, background checks, even business insurance. While you focus on growing your business, P-Police handles the paperwork. Stop stressing and start succeeding. Partner with P-Police, locally based in Ridgeland. Visit ppolice.com and get back to business.
This copy machine has me so frustrated. I could just body slam it.
Whoa there, leave the body slamming to the pros and leave superior high-quality office tech to the experts at Advantage Business Systems, brother.
Woo! Get it!
Never body slam your copy machine again. Visit absms.com. Advantage Business Systems, laying the smackdown on bad tech.
Oh, yeah. The time just keeps on slipping. We're slipping into the future. But Clay ain't slipping. And Andrew ain't slipping. Kim ain't slipping. Sean and Lindsay ain't slipping. Chip ain't slipping. Nope. We're not. Man, what a great week it's been. You know, I think about all the different stories that we've got to talk about, the time that we've got to spend together here at the show. And I just can't thank you all enough for the audience participation, the call-ins, the text line. I've got all sorts of text messages here, and I know I didn't get to all of them. I will make a better point to get to more text messages starting next week. Sometimes I get so locked in and focused in on the story here that I lose track of what's actually going on. But today is the 24th of October, and it is a Friday. So that means it's time to talk about the Sweet Bee and talk about what we can do to make our spouse's life just a little bit better, a little bit more harmony in the home. Have a good one, Brother Eric. And I truly think it's important as a husband, as a man, to make sure that my wife knows that as a woman, she is appreciated and taken care of. Now, there's more than one way to do this. You can sit there and bring her flowers. That's always a good idea, dudes. And you can go to a really nice place to get flowers, or you can just go to the Kroger. Trust me, that's always good. You can take your wonderful spouse out to eat. Just because. No reason. Sweetheart, I know how hard you've been working this past couple of weeks, and I just feel like we didn't get a good time to actually spend some time together, so let's go get some sushi. Perhaps it's a trip. Sweet Bee, we've been working so hard, let's go to Spain. There can be all sorts of different things, but the bottom line is men, women, we've got to reach out to our spouses. We've got to strengthen the nuclear family. We've got to show people that this is the right way to do things. And everything else will work itself out in the wash. I genuinely believe that with all my heart, just like I believe we can change Jackson. You've been listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We're going to take a 46-hour break, and we will be back. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.